go to what works me.
It's cool and Jason.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, what's worse for the black community? We gotta be honest. That
was nasty, but right there. That was nasty, but right there.
Black stuff and how you help blacks and all that shit. You don't take care of your own kids. What the hell?
All right,
Talk to me.
Richard, defend yourself for 1 second. I'm sorry to cut you first, but Richard, we gotta pass the mic to Richard. He gotta have a chance to defend himself. What are they saying, Richard?
That's childish dialogue. I mean, if you want me to explain my life, I can, but to just respond, react.
So why are they saying you don't take care of your kid? Defend your father.
Let him tell you why I said it.
Not defend your father.
Let him, but in relationships, you think it infotainment. I think it's...
No. Answer the question.
Hush your fuss.
Come on, let him. He was.
I did. I said I'm not going to respond to it. It's not coming out of a sincere perspective. So
I am sincere in asking about why that is being brought up as a talking point, because I got dulled by that. And my response
to that is to ask Omar why he brought it up as a talking point.
No, don't answer a question.
Question with a question is crazy work. Yeah. Let me ask you very directly. Are you a father involved with your children's life? Yes or no?
For as a part of also a question, let me see if I can do that. But in the context of also a question, not a personal question. There are a lot of fathers in Black America who have no personal relationship with their children or child. Now, if you want to know my personal reason, if you're a psychologist, which I may be, and you want to inquire, or is this a room of psychologists where you want to put me on the couch? I'm willing to,
go ahead and stick a pin in it, Richard.
Wait a minute, Jamal. Let him finish. Let him finish. Keep going, Jamal. Keep going, Richard.
I tried to take a point in it 3 times.
Look, I gotta say this, and this is not from a hands-off perspective. I'm a hands-on Black dad. I've been a single father since forever, it seems like. I've had full custody of my daughter since he was 2. Then I got my son when he became a freshman in high school, right? There is no defense system. There's no defense mechanism. There's no excuse for not fighting, unless you're dead, for not being involved with your kids' lives. There's none. And that is a problem in our community that needs to be addressed. That is something that is, if it's not coon, it's coon adjacent to the point where you're neck and neck. I can never stand side by side with somebody that will not stand up in fatherhood the same way you stood up in that pussy. Period.
I agree.
You can say stand up in the pussy, but I can't say that. Now that was creepy what you just said.
You always
All just speaks on dick and balls.
Exactly.
You got me all the way fucked up. Why Jamal, you talking dick and pussy? I'll be loving them late nights at the truck stop.
Yeah,
Hey, yo, can I mention my greater point why I brought it up? Can I mention my greater point why I brought that up?
Yeah, because you doubled. That was yeah.
I doubled down, right? But I think in the Black community, these are some of the things we got to do, right? We have to broaden our nuanced approach of stop calling everybody a coon, right? Because I know Anthony's backstory a little bit. Married to a Black woman, raising Black children. You know, a lot of his networks are Black folks, right? And then you got the flip side of folks, I'm not saying Richard per se, that talk that Black stuff, but ain't in Black communities, raising their family, taking care of theirs. You see what I'm saying? And we just got to be very careful of that wolf in sheep's clothing, you know, as Black folks. You can talk all that Black stuff all day, but if you're not producing the receipts, you know, that could be a problem. And that's why I brought that up. Y'all real talk. One thing I can say about Ant is Ant employs Black people too. That's another nuance. Yeah, he employs Black people. So I know a little more personally about him than most do, but he does have Black men that work for him and shit. So, you know, and he goes to a Black barber that he employs to do his head
every once in a while or whatever. So,
You got hair?
you know,
Well, back at Logic,
shaving.
Cornell West doesn't do his job, so you
But he does. He gets his hair shaved by a black barber. So I mean, he spends in the black community. He's a coon, and I'm not saying he ain't a coon, but he's still my brother. And I'll leave it right there. And you're still my brother.
Twin brother.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far. He looks more like Sammy Sosa to me.
Why are you enamored by his look of Sammy Sosa? Anyway, who's next? Who's next?
Google Sammy Sosa. Google him and you'll see for yourself.
What conversation are we having? Are we still talking about we got all the cultures in here? No rants? What's happening?
How you doing, First Lady? How you doing? Looking like a
Hey Omar, how are you?
That's a raccoon. That's not a rat.
Now, CEO's name came up multiple times. I don't even remember on what light, so I'm not saying anything negative or trying to be an antagonist. I just remember his name came up multiple times. How did it?
No, he was modding in that room, so he was, telling the other people off.
Then we should be able to hear his input because he probably would know a lot more than.
Okay. Hey, Sia.
If he wants to submit at all.
What's all good? What's happening, First Lady? How are you? Well,
I'm fine.
Somebody mentioned me. I thought I was just a guy in the background. Listen, what did I do?
No, they didn't say, I don't remember them saying anything.
I'll tell you exactly how it came up, Gemini. When I came in that room, CEO, and you were talking about Anthony, about the character, about when he raised his mic about black. Have I said enough yet to trigger your memory in JB's room?
What do you mean? Am I exchange with Anthony?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember the exchange with Anthony.
Can you maybe elicit that and express that in this room, because Gemini and many others weren't privileged to be in that room that many of us were in, and so that was a topic.
I don't want to pound on that man without him having his passion to be and defend himself.
He's on stage. He's right there.
Okay. Well,
the whole topic of this room since I've been in here is that.
Okay, so for me, I think Anthony represents, and I'm driving this for the record, a mindset. So I had two issues that I've said, and I'll repeat with Anthony, is that most of the stuff that I hear from him is disparaging for black people. I heard somebody say that he employs black people. That's cool. Plantation owners employ black people too. The plantation owners probably got their hair by black people, and the plantation owners had their children drinking from black nipples. So employing black people isn't the benchmark and litmus test for how well you treat black people. And so I have a thing that I told people. I was at a quota of hearing disparaging remarks about our culture. I don't know if Anthony was in there at that particular time. And I've always challenged him. I said, look, man, all I ever hear from you in most rooms, where that might seem like here, and I didn't use those words, but it seems like you're always downing black culture. Everything you say, it is to black people ain't shit. And I just got pretty much exhausted with it. I tried to be always respectful when the gentleman is on the stage, because that's the decorum that I think we need to keep. But at the end of the day, I don't like how he's spoken to black women. I don't like how he demonizes black culture. And lastly, and I'll close it here, with all due respect, Anthony, I feel like Anthony has the glass jaw. I walk into the room and call me stupid or don't know anything about him and say they're welfare babies or weak men. But if you punch Anthony, he cries foul and appeals to the moderator. So I just say, if you're going to dish that shit out, you got to be able to take it. I'll leave it there.
All right, so as per usual, I'm the lone nigga standing on my square. And then motherfuckers got the nerve to say I got a glass jaw. You can't make this shit up. It'd be me against the whole fucking room for Dolomite. And then motherfuckers gonna say something about a glass jaw? Yo, like, I'm by myself, taking over the whole fucking room, a chat, a bunch of moderators, and motherfuckers gonna say that I got a glass jaw.
You have a raccoon squad around you.
Yo,
like a bunch of raccoons in Brooklyn.
I want to address what he said specifically. All right, your story. All right, yo, as I want to focus on what he said specifically. You were talking directly to me. It wasn't just a general comment. You were talking to me specifically.
That's why I said hit.
That's so with this idea of a hit dog hollering, I don't have to mention people's names and they'll come off a mic. I know exactly what to say to get each individual off the goddamn mic. So anyway, and I ain't gotta mention their name. So CEO, listen, bro. Me and you smoke the peace pipe. You know, you're a father. God bless you. I wish you nothing but the best, and your family nothing but the best. I ain't got no issue with that. I love people. I love black people. I love white people. I love Asian people. I love everybody. I don't judge a book by its cover. I mentioned the fact that there was no white community the same way I mentioned the fact that there was no black community. These ideas I know are controversial to the blackity blacks. I know this stuff triggers the blackity blacks, the people who've watched Sinners 100 times and Get Out 2,000 times. Those people, my ideas really, really offended. They get really, really upset when they hear those ideas. But this idea that black people invented everything, black people built America from scratch, black people is responsible for every positive innovation, that is insulting to black people. This self-aggrandizing says, you know what? We all come from kings and queens. If we all came from kings and queens, who are the fucking peasants? Who are the servers? These are the ramblings of insecure people. All they want to hear
is a king, so I don't know what you're talking about.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So this idea that we can only say positive, good things about black people. This is the only things that we can say. It's nonsense, and I challenge it. And I'm gonna keep pushing back. And I'm sorry if it offends you.
It offends me. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second.
If you give me 1 second, just respond to me.
You got it. I'll concede. Go ahead.
Just 1 second. Anthony, here's what I'll say, and I don't think I need to even really refute or rebuttal because your position is really consistent. I'll give you that much, right? You said a lot of things most people have heard them. But here's what I challenge you to do, Anthony. Go into an Italian room or a Jewish room and denigrate, insult, and critique their cultures, because I've never heard you in any room speak on anything and with disparagement and then the tone that you speak, other than punching down, in my humble opinion, on black people. Go into a Jewish room and come back to this room and report how.
Shit.
When he says everybody says that we're kings and queens and we come from royalty and we invented traffic and helicopters and engines and whatever else, right? That he's being disingenuous in the submission, and he knows that, right? He plays a game, because one thing I do know about Anthony is he's not slow, and he knows how to play chess, and he's thinking a couple moves ahead. He can speak to a certain aspect or a small portion of black society that would believe that, just like the other people that believe that they're not driving, they're traveling, and they're autonomous and operate independent of the United States law and all that stupid shit. Excuse me for saying that, but that's how I feel, right? But then there's the portion of us that completely, and I say the majority if you were to ask me, right? But I'll be openly honest and say I'm biased, right? I see a lot of people that understand our shortcomings, our strengths, and are given a realistic analysis of who we actually are, right? And I think that would be the majority of us. I don't think everybody thinks they're a king, everybody thinks they're a queen. I think you should hold yourself and move in that regards, treat yourself the best you can, right? Because you're setting the standard for how other people treat you. So if you treat yourself on a lower level, then you are peasant adjacent. Therefore, you might as well be a peasant at that point, to the peasant portion of the conversation. But when I do look around my immediate family, Anthony, when I look at my uncle and aunt, they're attorneys who met because they were operating as attorneys, and you don't want to hear them two argue. When I look at my father, he's a chemist. When I look at my sister, she has a doctorate. You understand what I'm saying? So these are the things that are, this is my reality when I look around me, and these are the type of individuals that have had influence on me. And now, do I have my portion of the family that are not as affluent or intelligent or have the same work ethic. Yes, there's just, but they represent such a small portion of my family, right? So would I focus in on that and say, hey, you know, we come from peasantry, or would I focus in on the greatness that's around me and my father, who's still very actively involved in my life right now, right? That's my focal point. That's my guiding beacon. You understand what I'm saying? How you?
And you know, I don't know how good his chess level is. I feel you on that. He plays chess. Okay, cool. There's a lot of different masters of chess. But I do know as a people, we are so destined. Understanding, unlike what the slave master taught us about ourselves, he found us in the jungle with bones in our nose. And it's almost like this all Anthony want to know. And when you feel the spirit, what I'm saying is this. The excellence that never gets talked about in mainstream media, ever. You got to dig and find it, or have your own family members. I got family judges and all kind of stuff in my family, man. So the reality of understanding this story, when you got generations in the game, especially, to just then see what the media has done to us and the portrayal and therefore the duplication of nonsense that happens amongst all people, including us. Nobody ever tries to say black people don't have no room for